at the root of the problem. They've drilled out all of these teeth in the back of my head, and they've left the teeth to rot into the gum line, and all my gums inflamed really bad, abscesses. I feel the roots of the teeth hanging, rotting. Excruciating discomfort. That was 10 years ago. The dentist who'd messed the teeth up on purpose. 10 years ago, they also embedded the needle surgical pin into the anterior hip, groin triangle, upper thigh area with the arthrogram procedure. I'm not sure what is worse, the combination of both is bad. Rotting teeth or rotting into my head. That combined with the inflammation in the gum line and abscesses, excruciating discomfort. That, or what feels like the the rotting and panging and cramping of pain from the anterior hip groin triangle, and where the legs twisted and disfigured with a surgical pin needle, from what I am assuming here, holding the leg in the disfigured, keeping the leg in the pin disfigured position from the insertion of the needle into the anterior hip groin triangle. Between the two, it's excruciating torture. Leg twisted, disfigured, what feels like a needle pin buried so many inches deep into the upper thigh groin triangle, with a leg that's dysfunctional. And that combined with all of the teeth rotting into my gum line that need to be surgically cut up by a maxillofacial specialist who won't do anything. There's no dentists here, no one will. You go to them, they don't do anything right. They're not taking out broken teeth or rotten teeth. They're purposely damaging teeth to torture people here. It's kind of like if they drill the teeth out and there's only 3 dentists in the town and they know they've got someone cornered off. Once they've got somebody targeted and their teeth are all damaged, infected, left rotting in the gum line, that's the person left in agony with a mouthful of rotten, broken teeth. And they don't have, so basically they damage the teeth on purpose, then leave the victim with the teeth rotting into their head. What they do is they say, let us drill them out, we'll put temporary fillings in. And so he draws out the teeth, puts in these temporary fillings, and then when you go back to him for the other fillings, he doesn't put them in, leaving your teeth with the temporary fillings in there, which after 1 year to a year and a half fall out. Then the teeth begin to decay, and over the course of 10 years, they've left me with a multitude of teeth that they've purposely drilled out, rotting into my head. That combined with the arthrogram procedure at Kettering General Hospital on the 13th of May of 2008, when they inserted the needle into my groin triangle upper thigh, dropped me on the anaesthetized limb, disfiguring the leg. The combination of the two, it's torture. Trapped in a flat. Before I moved here, when I was 28, 29, I was playing 5-a-side indoor charitable football matches. I was down in Cornwall, jogging between Truro and St Austell, hill jogging. I was a cross-country runner, long-distance competition runner. I was in West London parks playing football on a regular basis. I was a healthy, functional 28, 29-year-old. I moved to Kettering on my 30th birthday. Within the first month of being here, 1 month of being here, Dr. S.S. Tandy's messed all my teeth up in the dental chair on the Headlands. 6 months later, the Headlands general practitioners have sent me to Kettering General Hospital, where they've misappropriated the arthrogram procedure to clinically disfigure my leg whilst inserting a surgical pin or a needle deep into the anterior thigh groin triangle area of my hip in order to keep my leg clinically disfigured. So now it's 10 years on. My leg is in, there's lumps forming in the thigh. It's excruciating discomfort, and that combined with all of the teeth that have been purposefully drilled out, hit up with temp fillings, then left without permanent fillings to rot and corrupt and decay into the gum line. So I've got a mouthful of abscesses with broken teeth in my mouth that they won't take out, and the maxillofacial specialist at the hospital, you can't get a book into him. And basically, it's like this, isn't it? The hospital is not supposed to be putting needles into people's legs. And if people are being left with surgical pins or needles embedded in them through acts of malfeasance or negligence, they should be taking them straight out again, shouldn't they? And it's the same with the dentists. The dentists are not supposed to be drilling people's teeth out, giving them temporary fillings, then not giving them the permanent fillings, so the victim patient is left with a mouthful of teeth that have been purposefully drilled out, left decaying and rotting into their head. But this is what they're doing here. It's as though it's a strategic deployment by the NHS of being able to to torture their victims. Um, you leave somebody with a mouthful of broken teeth in their head, it's going to cause them severe psychological issues. Coping with it. It's excruciating discomfort. That combined with the insertion of a surgical pin needle into the groin triangle upper thigh of a victim, leaving the victim demobilized, clinically incapacitated, with a clinically disfigured, dysfunctional right leg. So I'm dragging my leg around. It's like having a shackle on or a fetter. This is their fetishized fetters, with Gary Dixon fetishizing all of the abuse that took place there with his BDSM pornography and Target My Daughter movies, whilst they had me under the target machine at Kettering General Hospital's radiology department, putting a needle in my leg. It's a fetter that they've got around my leg, but instead of it being like a physical shackle or something, they've literally clinically disfigured my leg, twisting it beyond its ROM, and they've left a needle, surgical pin, purposefully inserted into the upper thigh groin triangle, crucifying me, nailed me to the cross, but with a surgical pin needle inserted in my groin. The only way I can get myself back down off the cross is if I can find a trustworthy radiologist or orthopedic surgeon who has the capabilities of localizing what they've embedded in the top of my leg and surgically removing it. Whatever they've done to the thigh muscles, twisting and disfiguring them, it's probably just a case of this one small piece of metal embedded in the top of the thigh. Once it was surgically removed, my leg would return back to normal functionality. Um, and it's the same with the teeth, if they just cut out a couple of broken teeth that are rotting into the gum line, they'd have somebody that wasn't continuously moaning and going around in agonizing pain, suffering and discomfort. But this is what they get off on. Inducing inducing dysfunctionality and disability and affliction, and controlling and methodically manipulating their victims as though it's like a form of aversive behavioral stimuli. They can tap in with the clinical negligence and leaving people in negligible afflicted circumstance, and that's a method and means of them controlling their victim who they crucify. It's pretty sick and twisted out these ways, I know that much. Anyway, I'll post this up on YouTube, and I don't really want to watch this one either.